You give your time, your energy, your patience, your heart, and somehow it's still never enough. People keep asking, and you keep giving, even when there's nothing left. This is the story of Ethan. Ethan lived in a small American town where everyone knew his name, not because he was important, not because he was powerful, but because he was always available. If someone needed help moving, Ethan showed up. If a coworker needed a shift covered, Ethan said yes. If a friend needed someone to talk to at 2 in the morning, Ethan answered the phone without hesitation. People often said he was a good man, reliable, dependable, kind. What they didn't say was whether he was okay, because no one ever thought to ask. Ethan believed something that felt true for a long time. He believed that being kind would protect him, that helping others would create loyalty, that sacrifice would eventually be returned with respect. So he kept giving. At work, he arrived early and left late. When mistakes happened, he took responsibility. And when success came, someone else accepted the praise. His manager once told him that he never worried about Ethan because Ethan never complained. Ethan smiled when he heard that, but inside, something quietly cracked. As time passed, weeks turned into months and months into years, and Ethan's life became a routine of giving and disappearing. At home, his phone never stopped buzzing. Friends needed favors, family needed financial help, neighbors needed time. Every time Ethan tried to rest, guilt filled the space, whispering that if he said no, people would think he had changed, that if he stopped helping, he would no longer be needed. So he kept saying yes, even when his body was begging him to stop. One day, his body finally made the decision for him. Ethan collapsed at work, right in the middle of a normal day that had slowly been draining him for years. In the hospital, the doctor told him it wasn't an accident, that it was exhaustion, stress, burnout built up over time. The doctor said his body had been warning him for years and he ignored every signal. That night, Ethan lay in his hospital bed staring at the ceiling, listening to the quiet. For the first time, no one called, no one checked in, no one asked how he was doing. And in that silence, he realized something painful. The world didn't stop without him. People didn't worry. They simply found someone else to take from. A few days later, his cousin came to visit, not to ask how Ethan was feeling, but to ask for money. The request was casual, almost automatic, as if Ethan's role in life was already decided. Ethan looked at him, and for the first time he didn't feel guilt. He felt anger. Calm, quiet anger. He said he couldn't help. The cousin laughed and said Ethan had changed. That sentence stayed with him, because it was true. He had changed, and change made people uncomfortable, especially the ones who benefited from his silence. After leaving the hospital, Ethan started spending his evenings at a small park near his apartment. One evening, an old man sitting on a bench beside him spoke up and said that Ethan looked like someone who carried everyone's weight. Ethan admitted that he thought that was his purpose. The old man shook his head and told him that his purpose was not to destroy himself so others could feel comfortable. He said something else that stayed with him long after that evening ended. That people don't love you for your sacrifices, they just get used to them. Ethan asked the question he had been afraid to ask out loud, whether stopping would make him a bad person. The old man looked at him and said that kindness without self-respect isn't kindness at all. It's fear pretending to be goodness. That night, Ethan made a decision that scared him more than exhaustion ever had. He decided to stop abandoning himself for the comfort of others. The next day at work, when his manager tried to give him extra tasks that weren't his responsibility, Ethan calmly said no. The room went quiet. People stared. His manager asked if he was serious, and Ethan said he was. For the first time in years, he didn't explain himself. He didn't apologize. He simply stood his ground. People whispered that he had changed, that he wasn't the same anymore. And they were right. He wasn't. At home, Ethan stopped answering every call immediately. He started choosing. Some people disappeared, some became angry, some tried to shame him, telling him he was selfish, telling him they missed the old version of him. But Ethan finally understood the truth. They didn't miss him, they missed what they could take from him. As the weeks passed, something unexpected happened. Ethan started sleeping better. He felt lighter. He laughed more. He didn't stop being kind, but he started being careful. He helped people who asked with respect, people who gave back, people who appreciated his effort. One day, a co-worker asked for help but also offered support in return, and for the first time, kindness felt balanced, not draining. Months later, Ethan saw the old man again in the park. The old man told him he looked stronger, and Ethan agreed. He said that learning to say no didn't make him cruel, it made him honest. The old man smiled and reminded him that you don't need to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. If you're listening to this right now and you feel drained, invisible, or taken for granted, hear this clearly. You are not weak for being kind, but kindness without boundaries will slowly destroy you. You don't owe everyone access to your energy. You don't owe explanations for protecting your peace. And you don't owe loyalty to people who only show up when they need something. The right people will respect your limits, and the wrong people will leave. Let them. Because one person who truly values you is worth 100 who only use you. Be kind, but be wise. You matter too.